here in a moment and get officially started. I'm going to give myself a drink. I was overseas last week and feeling a little throat tickle. So, all right, look at that. Ohio, Maryland, Florida, Michigan, California, McPherson, Alberta, Canada. We've got Kim Jackson in Ohio. What's up, Kim Jackson? Hey, how are you, superstar? Um, there's Teresa. Hey, Terry in Thornton, Colorado. And Chris in Northwest Iowa. And Rachel in Pembroke, Kentucky. And these are coming in way faster than I can read them, but we're glad you're here. Thanks for being here. We're going to get started in about 30 seconds. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and real fast rename somebody so I can keep our guests in order here. There's Albert Tynes. What's up, Albert? All right. And we're going to get started here in just a moment. I think we've got translation. Welcome, everybody, to this call. If you're just tuning in, we've got Australia. What's up, Zinta in Australia? And there's Trevor Jones in Athens, Tennessee, and Todd Ross, Orion's Belt, Rebecca Ferris, Maryland, John Cox in Michigan, Daryl McDaniel in Alabama, Sylvia Humphreys in Aiken, South Carolina. There's Misty Zimmerman in Mansfield, Ohio, Sandy Roberts in Tennessee. There's Barbara in New Mexico, Beth in Fairbanks, Alaska. We've got Shy Whiting in Alabama, James Van Buskirk, in West Texas, and many, many more. I'm not going to be able to read all of these and keep up, but I'm so glad that you're here. So glad. Okay, we're going to get started in about 10 seconds. Welcome, everybody, to this call. We are so glad that you're here. This is a call that we do every week. And if this is your first time on our call, we're glad that you're here. We want to welcome you here for the first time. If you're new, and there are already about 300 people on this call in the live Zoom, there'll be more coming in, and there are thousands more that are watching through the restreams on Facebook, on YouTube, and other places. Do me a favor, if you're brand new, if you've never been on one of these calls before, if this is your first time, will you just write the word new in the chat? It really helps me to know approximately, what the new people, there's Jill that's new, and Francine, and others that are new. There's Angela and Sandra. Thank you so much. Okay, lots of new people here. We got lots of new people that are probably trying to figure out also how to put that in the chat. We're glad that you're here. We're really glad that you're here. We've got a lot to cover and almost no time to lose. And so I'm going to go ahead and just share my screen. I'll introduce myself first. My name is Trent. I make content on social media and have a following on social media talking about metabolic health. And a few years ago, a very small group of us got together and started doing these weekly calls. And these weekly calls, this may sound a little audacious, but it's the truth. These weekly calls have now changed the lives of thousands and thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of people. And that is real. And all of you have been a part of it. And if you're new, I guess you haven't been a part of it yet, but you're going to be a part of it now. We're so grateful about that. And I want to just get started for all the new people that are here, talking a little bit about why we have these calls. Why we have these calls, why they're so important, and who they are for. Okay. So to begin, I'll just share a little bit with you about the state of the state of the nation when it comes to our health in the United States. Now, these are figures about the United States, but they're really true of anywhere in the world. Okay. So in the United States, there are 270 million American adults. Of those 270 million American adults, there are 47 million just in this country alone on statin drugs. These are people taking drugs like Crestor and Lipitor, for example, to manage cholesterol. Maybe you know some people on those drugs. Maybe you're on those drugs, right? There's another 60 to 90 million people on high blood pressure medication. Drugs like lisinopril, for example. There's another 30 plus million on blood sugar medications, drugs like metformin. There's another 30 plus million, and this is going up every day, on GLP-1s like Ozempic, for example, right? There's another 30 to 40 million, that's very conservative, on anxiety and depression medications, okay? And if you're doing the math here and starting to add up all these people and all these different drugs, and for sure, There's definitely some crossover. There are some people on multiple drugs, right? But just looking at these five categories, we're not even scratching the surface of all the other stuff, right? This is 200 million on medications, 200 million prescription refills every month in this country alone, right? And here is the crazy part, and the reason why we do these calls is that most of this is completely preventable. Most of it is completely preventable and in many cases completely reversible. And tonight we're going to talk about how to prevent it and reverse it, okay? So our audience for these calls is really two groups of people. And you may fall into one or the other or maybe both, okay? We do these calls for people who are sick, people who aren't where they want to be metabolically or physically, who want better health. If that is you, you're in the right place. We also do these calls because there are lots and lots of very healthy people who are passionate about wellness. They're passionate about preventative health care, and they love to spend time and money and give their attention on preventative health care. And so if that's you, we're glad you're here. Maybe you fall into both categories. We're double glad you're here, okay? Now, these medications are primarily being driven by two bad guys. There's two evil bad guys that are driving the use, the need for all these drugs. They're driving the sickness. And bad guy number one would be the bad guy of insulin resistance, okay? Now, maybe you don't know what that term means. I'll explain it briefly. Insulin resistance is the underlying cause that is either the direct cause or the indirect cause of all these other problems, things like obesity, things like fatty liver, things like diabetes, right? All of these come from insulin resistance. Solve the insulin resistance, often you solve the problem, okay? Migraine headaches, Alzheimer's. Do you have anybody in your family history with Alzheimer's? Well, guess what? Alzheimer's is insulin resistance. Fix the insulin resistance, and you can often fix the Alzheimer's. Heart disease is the number one killer in the world. What if we could solve that problem? PCOS is the number one cause of infertility. What if we could solve that problem, right? Well, we can solve that problem as we address and solve the problem of insulin resistance. And that is what this call is about. Now, the other bad guys, there was two bad guys. Bad guy number one would be insulin resistance. Bad guy number two would be dysbiosis. What is dysbiosis? That's a funny word, right? It's a damaged gut. Some people call it leaky gut. Some people call it dysbiosis, okay? But a damaged gut. Inside of our gut is an ecosystem of trillions of bugs, these little tiny microscopic bugs, okay? And these bugs have everything to do with the way you're feeling right now. They have everything to do with your health. And when these bugs are in bad shape, you're in bad shape. And when these bugs are in good shape, you're in good shape. This damaged gut is happening and it's out of control, primarily because of processed foods. Okay, both the insulin resistance and the damaged gut are primarily driven by processed foods. But okay, if we have a damaged gut, or if we have insulin resistance, what can we do about it? Well, that is what tonight's call is about. Okay, now, one way to handle it is to take the medication. But that doesn't really solve the underlying problem, right? It just treats the symptoms. And what we want to talk about is helping people get off the never-ending roller coaster of diet culture, pharmaculture, etc., and really get their lives back. In fact, if you give us the next 90 days of your life, we're going to give you a new life. Okay. And our goal is to get no less than 1%, no less than 1% of those 200 million people. We want them to be on these calls, to find out about these calls. And so this is the scope of tonight's call. And before I get into it, and before we bring in our guest, we've got one of the most exciting guests we've ever had on this call. Okay. Dr. Nick, the fittest doc, is on the call tonight, and he's going to be helping us with the call tonight. We're really, really excited about that. Okay. But before we do that, we have a little tradition where we like to start with a story. Okay. Now, this person is a complete stranger to me. The very first time I ever spoke with this person was just a couple of hours ago, okay, in preparation for tonight's call. And this is somebody who has been on the protocol and just did his 90 days. Okay. Remember, I just said if you give us 90 days of your life, we're going to give you a new life. Well, this is Albert. And Albert, is it Albert Tynes? Am I saying that right, brother? Uh-oh. I got to unmute you, brother. You were just unmuted, but we remuted. Let me have you unmute. Okay, Albert?
Yes.
Okay, brother. Albert Tynes. Okay, everybody, this is Albert. Albert is relatively new to this protocol. He's out on the road. Albert, who is Albert? And tell us where you're sitting right now.
Albert is a professional truck driver from San Antonio, Texas, but I'm currently in Missouri, getting ready to head up to Oklahoma City.
Okay, awesome. And Albert, maybe just tell us, where were you at with your health prior to starting the protocol, and what has happened since getting started?
Well, the beginning of the year, January this year, got on the scale. I was 326 pounds, and I knew I had to do something. So I guess back in the first week of March or so, I was watching Derek Henderson's live, and he listed many, many things that could be wrong with your system, inflammation, diabetes, all that kind of stuff. And it got my attention. I'm looking at all this stuff, saying to myself, man, I have over half of those things that's on his board. I need to listen in on this. So I did. I decided to give it a shot because I've always been relatively athletic. I've never put on this much weight in my life. And I said, nothing's working. I got to give this a shot. So I ordered the protocol. Oh, actually, I went to the doctor March 2nd, and the protocol came March 4th or the 5th. But I went to the doctor on the 2nd, got all my labs done, and he said my cholesterol was high. I needed drugs for that. My blood pressure was high. I needed drugs for that. He needed to put me on metformin because I crossed over the 6.5, and I was just really, really depressed. And I told my doctor, please, 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 I ordered this protocol. I want to see if it works. I'm hearing so many good things about it. I'm going to give it a shot. And I did that. And I was serious about it. I decided I wasn't going to snack. I wasn't going to do anything because I'm in these truck stops every single day. I'm sitting in the truck stop right now. Every day I'm here. And I just decided I need to do this. No snacks, no nothing. I took the protocol. I did my 90 days. I never was hungry. I mean, it was just so simple, so easy. Never went to the gym, nothing. Anyway, I got my numbers back a couple of weeks ago. Remember, I just said I was in diabetic land. I'm no longer in diabetic land. I was a 6.5 or 6. Now I'm a 5.5. So my diabetes is basically gone. I'm going to keep it that way. They wanted to put me on uh, what is it? They wanted to put me on the cholesterol lowering drugs.
Mhm.
Don't have to do that. I mean, right now my labs came back, everything normal, everything's great. N- And my current weight now is 245 pounds. I've never felt better, and this system is easy. Like I said, never went to the gym, just followed the protocol like I was supposed to do, and I'm just so happy that I ran across it. I mean, this is the best thing that has ever happened to me, honestly.
That is amazing. Now, Albert, your phone broke up a little bit. So you said something about we didn't get to hear where you said your weight is now. So how much weight have you lost in the 90 days?
I've lost in the 90 days, I lost 58 or 59 pounds. My current weight right now is 245 pounds. So my weight is excellent. Like I said, I've never felt better. I
What
mean,
about blood pressure? That blood pressure sometimes takes a little longer. Have they checked your blood pressure?
oh, I check it every day. My blood pressure now stays right around 118 over 68. I've never had numbers like this. Never, never.
Oh man, that is
I've
just
never
awesome, Albert.
Yes, yes, thank you. Like I said, I've never felt better. But the crazy thing about it, it was just so easy. Just get on the protocol and just do it.
Oh, Albert, hey, this couldn't have been scripted better. I mean, honestly, this is just awesome. And to have you speak from the heart and tell it like it is, as a truck driver, it is just a totally new, it's so hard, right? I mean, there's bad food
Yes,
everywhere, and you stop at a gas station, and you're like, ah, man, I mean, what are we going to eat here, right? And so
right.
this could be such a great story for so many other people. Albert, we're excited for you. Thanks, man, for coming on to
Thank
the
you.
call. You
Thanks.
are so articulate, and what you did and how you explained that was just perfect. And so thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And I just really again just want to thank Derrick Henry for getting me started on this thing and coaching me through it. The system is easy. Just do it. Just do it.
I love it. I love it. Thanks so much. Yeah, and double shout out, Derek Henderson. Way to go, brother. So proud of you for mentioning it to Albert. This is just awesome. Well, okay, that is our first story. We got another story coming up here later in the call. We've also got Dr. Nick, the fittest doc, who is on this call tonight. We're so excited. Okay, on tonight's call, we're going to do two things. Now, I'm going to do it a little different than I normally do, and that's kind of risky because they say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. What we're doing is working so well, but I'm going to try something a little new. So we're going to explain the protocol. I want to explain it for all the new people that are here and make it very, very simple for you to understand what we're doing to address this insulin resistance and this gut dysbiosis, these two problems, and change lives. I mean, how does a guy like Albert, who just spoke here, right? How does a guy like Albert reverse from type 2 diabetes to no longer even a pre-diabetic in that range right now, right? How does he get his blood pressure and his cholesterol and lose, 50 pounds in 90 days? How does he get a new life in 90 days, right? So we're going to explain the protocol and step-by-step how to do that. Then we're going to talk about 4 ways to turbocharge the protocol. And this is where we'll bring in Dr. Nick, and we'll have our other story, Leanne, tonight, who we're really excited about. But we're going to talk about 4 ways to turbocharge or to speed up or to make sure that you make the most of this protocol, okay? And then if we have time, we'll do some Q&A. We're really, really excited about this, but I'm going to start by kind of explaining the protocol. So this is for anybody that's here that's new or anybody that feels like maybe they aren't totally sure what we're doing and how to do it and what are the rules and all that, right? So, first, we've got to start with something really, really basic, okay? I'm a basic guy. I like things explained very basically. Human beings run on 2 types of fuel, okay? A car can run on, gasoline. A jet runs on jet fuel. Human beings run on 2 types of fuel. The obvious type is, of course, food. When we eat food, we fuel our body. The fuel in that food fuels our body, right? So if food is one type of fuel that we can run on, what would be the other one? The other is fat, body fat. Our fat cells are actually reservoirs of energy. Inside a fat cell is a reservoir of energy. And if we have love handles or a belly or fat wherever, it could be under our arms, it could be on our butt. If we have undesirable body fat anywhere, okay, that body fat is a type of fuel. Now, if we've got more body fat than we'd like to have, and yet it doesn't seem to be going anywhere, we're going to talk about how to access that fat and burn the fat as fuel instead of burning food, okay? Because when we're eating food, we can't access the fat. And when we're not eating food, our body is forced to access the fat, right? So we're going to talk about how to do this. Now, this is something that when done properly yields just incredible results. Incredible results. What's so incredible about Cody, and Cody and I have been friends for more than 20 years, do you notice he doesn't have any loose skin? Do you notice he doesn't look like a guy that used to have serious insulin resistance and a really, really large protruding belly and fatty liver? So when you do this protocol and you do it the right way, that the transformation could just be incredible, right? So we're going to talk about it, okay? Now, there are some things that can really prevent burning this fat cell, turning this reservoir of energy into fuel, okay? One is too much food. When we get too many calories or too much food, our body just stores that as energy. That's, too much. If we have more than we need, it's got to be stored, right? Another culprit is too much insulin. Insulin is a signaling hormone that signals to the body to store fat. Okay, so when we have too much food or too much insulin, our body is being told not to burn fat, but to store it. Okay. It's being told to store the fat. So, how can we solve this problem, right? This is a problem because I have struggled with overeating my whole life. And just about every American, fat or thin, old or young, male or female, just about every American is struggling with too much insulin. These processed foods are causing too much insulin. This modern diet is an insulin skyscraper diet. Okay. And so this is where we are. We've got these fat cells that we cannot access, right? And if you look at the modern American diet, this is what most people do. They eat all day. They have breakfast, they have lunch, they have dinner, they have snacks in between meals. And before they know it, they don't feel like they've really eaten anything crazy today. But before they know it, they've had, this is something like 2,400 calories or 3,400 calories or, just too much food. Just too much food. Too many calories, too much food. Our bodies were not designed to be eating and snacking all day, okay? Not only is this a diet that leads to too much food, but as soon as you eat breakfast, most people's breakfast caught, some juice and some toast or, it causes insulin to go up. And then we snack and insulin goes up and we eat again and it goes up and we snack again and it goes up and we eat again. And so insulin is just high all the time. It's just high all the time. There's nothing you can do but store fat all the time when you eat like the average person eats nowadays, right? Now, in a perfect world, it would just be so simple, right? I mean, somebody would just give you a piece of advice. Hey, you just need to eat less and move more. And it would just be that simple. Oh, all we needed to do was hear that phrase and it clicks. And now we just eat less all of a sudden and we move more. We're just so disciplined. We have so much willpower that we're able to do it, right? In a perfect world, this would be really, really easy. You'd have 2 meals a day instead of 3. There would be a period each day where you take a break from food, and that allows insulin to come down. And man, when insulin's down, your body would just be so good. It would be so good at burning fat. When insulin's low, the fat's got to go. Remember that. When insulin's low, the fat's got to go. When insulin comes down, your body becomes a fat burning machine. You're running on fat fuel, baby. You're eating your love handles for breakfast, right? When insulin's low, the fat's got to go. Well, what are some other ways to keep insulin down? Instead of so much processed food, what if we were to just have a garden salad before every meal, right? That fiber, those fibers, those different seeds and herbs and veggies and fresh fruits, they have different fibers, and those fibers help us keep insulin down. When insulin's low, the fat's got to go, right? The fiber would also be very satiating. We wouldn't eat as much for lunch or dinner if we had this garden salad beforehand. Well, this is all starting to sound a lot like a diet, right? Where I've got to go without food, and that's going to be difficult. And I've got to eat all these things that are expensive and inconvenient and difficult. And I don't know how long you stick with diets, but for most of us, it's a couple of weeks, right? Maybe a couple of months. And so, what we're doing with this protocol is so special because we're taking willpower out of the equation. This isn't a diet about counting calories, although it is an absolutely effective diet at reducing calories. Okay. This isn't a diet about extreme exercise or eliminating anything. Okay. This protocol is really simple. So I want to explain it right now. I'm going to go slowly. We've got breakfast, we've got lunch, we've got dinner, we've got the snacks, right? This is how the average person typically eats. What we're doing on this protocol is we are skipping a meal. When we skip breakfast, we don't get calories from food. This is not food fuel, okay? And instead of getting calories from food, our body is still going to get calories, but it's going to get those calories from fat. And we sip on something called Unamate, and I'll explain why later in the call, but this helps us keep insulin low and burn fat extremely effectively for fuel. So we're still getting calories. Our body's not starving. We're not feeling hungry. Our body's getting plenty of calories, and it's getting them from fat. Insulin's low. The fat's got to go. Life is good. And the Unamate makes me forget that I'm even fasting. Okay. In fact, having that Unamate means that I'm not even going to need that snack anymore. I'm good, right? So we've now eliminated like 700 calories that we're taking from fat now instead of from food, right? Pretty cool. Now, instead of needing a garden salad, what if there was a blend of the right types of fibers that you could have before whatever you're going to eat for lunch? Well, there is such a blend, and it's going to change the world. It's going to change healthcare. And I'll explain that later as we go in the call. That fiber is so satiating that it helps you feel full, not only through lunch, but until dinner. And you don't need that extra snack. And then dinner rolls around and you're excited to eat dinner because you're feeling good, your energy's good, your blood sugar hasn't spiked, your insulin hasn't spiked. And so you have another packet of fiber, and now it's time for dinner. And so you're eating the right way at the right times, the right amounts, and you're not feeling deprived or miserable or hangry or whatever, right? And so this protocol, this right here that I'm showing you right here, this is what I did to completely change my life. Not only did it change the way I looked, but it changed the way I felt, and it changed the way my blood work looked. If you want to make your doctor happy, this is how, like Albert just shared, you can make your doctor really, really happy, right? You can make your doctor really, really happy. Now, we're going to talk about why the Unimate works, why the balance works in just a little bit, maybe as we go further in this call. But this flat out works. Now, you can also do another way. You could have just one balance, right? This is one Unimate and two balance. If that's a lot of fiber for you, you could do one balance, maybe before your largest meal each day, and have another Unimate before lunch. But the insulin control and the food control becomes effortless for me on this protocol. It's just so awesome, okay? So this is what we're doing. For those that are unaware of how the protocol works, this is how it works. Now, we're going to get into what's in the products later, but I really want to talk about 4 tips on how to turbocharge the protocol. And that is the scope of tonight's call. I want to go quickly through the ones I'm going to cover and really give the floor here to Dr. Nick in a moment to talk about the most important one. So if you're on the protocol and you want to go faster, or if you're not on the protocol yet and you're considering it, I want to give you some tips to help you have an incredible experience over your 90 days. Okay. Tip number 1, avoid breaking your morning fast with jumbo meals, okay? By far, the most common mistake that people make is they skip breakfast, okay? And instead of truly skipping breakfast, they just combine the breakfast and the snack from that period to later in the day. And so, yes, they have a period where they're taking a break from food, but then they're overeating later in the day, okay? Now, it's important to remember that when you were fasting, you were not starving. Your body is still getting calories. It's getting them from fat. And so when you go to break your fast, what you want to do is just have a regular lunch and a regular dinner. Whatever you would regularly eat at a meal, have a regular lunch and a regular dinner. Now, I put 750 calories up there. That may be aggressive for you, or it might be light for you. I don't know. Everybody's different, right? But for me, right, this is something that is very, very manageable with the protocol. So tip number 1, avoid super mega jumbo meals when it's time to break your fast. You will undo a lot of the good you do during the fast if you break the fast improperly, okay? This allows you to effectively burn fat for fuel without feeling deprived. We'll get to the comments here in a moment. Many of you, hundreds of you, are on this protocol. I'll let you speak for the protocol here in a moment, but it's just incredible how effectively it works. Tip number 2, this is a big one. I would encourage you over 90 days, and in fact, let's forget about the next 90 days. Let's say for the rest of our lives, should we all agree that for the rest of our lives, we should minimize ultra-processed foods? I mean, if there was poison, would you want to maximize the poison you're taking in or minimize it? I'd like to minimize it. Now, I still am going to have a cookie from time to time. I'm going to have pizza from time to time. I'm going to have a double cheeseburger with everything on it from time to time. I'm still going to have ice cream and cake when it's birthday time, right? This is not about elimination, but it is about minimizing the things that we know are killing us, okay? Juice and soda is just about the worst thing that you can pour onto your liver every day, right? And that's obviously symbolic. I'm not saying you're literally pouring it onto your liver, but this is a way to give yourself fatty liver. And once you have fat on your liver, everything gets harder. Minimize and avoid ultra processed foods. These foods are designed, they're actually chemically engineered to get you to eat and eat and eat and not be in control of yourself. Okay. Have you ever thought about why, when you sit down at a restaurant like Olive Garden or Chili's, they are giving you free breadsticks? Why would a restaurant whose goal is to sell me food be giving me free unlimited food? Why are they giving me free chips and salsa or free breadsticks? It's because of something called the supra-additive effects of combining fats and carbohydrates on our brain's reward systems. As soon as you take a carbohydrate and a fat and you combine it, see, there's nothing in nature that has carbs and fats together. There's nothing in nature. I mean, breast milk would be an exception. There's a few other exceptions, like cashews, for example. Cashews and breast milk are designed to fatten us up. And when we sit down and we have a breadstick, or we even smell the breadstick, or we have some chips, our brain starts to go into food hyperdrive. They give it to us for free because they know the moment we smell or taste or consume it, we'll actually order more food, not less. We will eat more food, not less. Ultra processed foods are foods that have lots of calories and no satiety. If you want to go fast and if your goal is weight control, minimize them. Tip number 3, the more muscle you have, the more insulin sensitivity you'll have. I want to bring in our guest of today's call, Dr. Nick. Dr. Nick, known as the Fittest Doc on Instagram. Dr. Nick is probably one of the top, if not the top expert in the world when it comes to this subject, okay? Dr. Nick is an absolute expert. And not only does he talk the talk, but this man walks the walk when it comes to this subject. And so I want to give the floor to Dr. Nick, talking about more muscle, more insulin sensitivity. Dr. Nick agreed to this call on short notice, and he is just incredible. So I appreciate you so much, Nick. What would you say to the group about muscle and insulin sensitivity?
Hey, Trent, thank you so much for inviting me on tonight. Muscle and insulin sensitivity, I think it's an absolute prerequisite, especially if you're thinking long term. And obviously, we'll get into it. I'll let you ask me questions and we'll go from there. But muscle has both an effect in the short term and then also in the long term, right? So I think that ultimately, if you want to maximize your metabolic health, your insulin sensitivity, it should be something that is always at the top of your list of priorities to build slowly but surely. And actually, let me clarify just a little bit more. I wouldn't necessarily say just muscle, because none of us are bodybuilders or aspiring to be bodybuilders. However, I think we need to make a distinction between functional muscle, muscle that is actually capable of power output, of strength output, because that's absolutely important. Obviously, as we age, we're all worried about, in the back of our heads, sarcopenia, right? Which is the age-related loss of muscle. However, there are physiological processes that should come to our mind even more kind of top of mind than sarcopenia. So the first one is dynapenia, which is the age-related loss of strength. And then there is another one that is top of the list, top of the list. So I'm saying this so that we prioritize this. Cratopenia, K-R-A-T, cratopenia. As we all get older, actually, cratopenia, the loss of power, that is the first thing that you lose. If you notice, why is it that somebody who's in their late 20s or somewhere in their 30s, or many people in their 40s and older, if you ask them to jump on a box that is 20 inches tall, 24 inches tall, 30 inches tall, you will see them hesitate. And the reason that they're hesitating isn't necessarily because they doubt their strength output, it's that they doubt their power output. They doubt their ability to call upon their muscles and explosively jump on top of that box. So as we age, really, sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle, that's a priority. I get it. But like I said, none of us are bodybuilders. We want functional muscle, muscle that is capable of outputting power and outputting strength.
I love that. Dr. Nick, I'm a guy who really likes pizza. I like cheeseburgers. Those are two of my favorite foods. And I'd like to just know, I mean, I actually don't know exactly what you're going to say about this, so I might walk myself off a cliff here. But what is the difference between a person with very little muscle mass eating pizza or cheeseburger and a person with lots of muscle mass eating a piece of pizza or cheeseburger when it comes to glucose numbers and insulin?
That's a great question. So let's talk about the first part of that question, the glucose numbers, right? Because insulin lags off of glucose, and it obviously is responsive to it. Ultimately, somebody with less amounts of muscle mass and somebody with more muscle mass, when they're eating the same meal, their bodies do not treat that meal in the same manner, especially if that meal has a high carbohydrate load. The best analogy I can think of to tell you is, imagine that you have a parking lot, right? And you have a parking lot of 10 spaces, and that as glucose and fat that you eat kind of comes into that parking lot, right? If you have little muscle mass, you don't have a lot of parking spots. You may have 10 parking spots that are quickly filled up by the glucose and the fat that you just consumed. And then unfortunately, because you overconsumed essentially above and beyond what your body is able to tolerate, the sidewalk, parking on the grass, actually insulin resistance. However, the flip side of the coin in this respect is somebody who has more muscle mass, but alluded to not just more muscle mass, but more functional muscle mass. In that person, they essentially don't have a 10 spot parking lot. They have a massive multi-level garage, right? Where glucose and fatty acids can essentially come into that muscle and park in an orderly fashion, not blocking the entrance, not parking on the grass. And because of that, they are able to essentially dispose of the incoming macronutrients, the fat and the glucose in a much more efficient manner. Because truly, if you think about this analogy that I just brought up, in the 10 parking spot analogy,
Mhm.
the people, the glucose and the fat that needs to park off in the sidewalk, right? And park off on the grass. If we think about that and what happens in your body, what happens is now not just fat deposition, right? Because fat deposition and being stored away in fat is one thing, but we have all heard about visceral fat.
Mhm.
However, there's another type of fat that is just as deadly, if not more, and that is ectopic fat. Ectopic fat is fat that is stored within tissues it has no place being, right? So if we think about this 10 spot parking lot and you have not that much muscle and you have glucose and fatty acids that are coming in, and now all of the parking spots are full and you have people and you have glucose and fat that needs to park on the sidewalk, right, in the grass. What you can imagine is that those fat droplets now are being stored in fat, right?
Mhm.
So this is called intramuscular fat deposition. This is ectopic fat. Uh, you know, you could get into a lot more, but essentially, that ectopic fat that is stored, right, the diacylglycerols, and you have essentially ceramides, and unfortunately, both of these things that I just mentioned, right, the diacylglycerols, the ceramides, being stored in muscle fiber, being stored as fat in the sidewalk, in the parking, or the sidewalk in the grass. Unfortunately, these actually cause insulin resistance. So, as Dr. Bickman and many others have proclaimed, and the science backs them up, insulin resistance starts not just in the fat tissue, but also in the muscle tissue itself.
Excellent, excellent analogy. Thank you, Dr. Nick. Maybe one last question. Um, there are a lot of people who are not in a place where they can start tomorrow lifting heavy or jumping on a 24-inch box. What would be something that somebody could do as a beginner that would give them a head start? Something they could do to help them aerobically or resistance wise with their glucose and insulin numbers.
Simply walking after meals, walking after as many meals as they are capable of doing on any given day. I think that that is a very low friction option that too many people underestimate the importance of, and the utility of, when the science absolutely backs it up. And, like I said, it's a low friction. You don't have to go to a gym. In the event that you cannot walk outside or you can't go to a treadmill. I have a client, Nicole, who was telling me the other day that she walks around her island. She'll eat her dinner, and she will essentially walk around the island, in her kitchen, and watch TV, sometimes walking around the island in the kitchen, right? So long story short, anywhere that you can get steps in after consumption of food has a glucomodulatory effect that cannot be understated.
Love it. Thank you so much, Dr. Nick. Really appreciate it. Love seeing you with the Unimate there, brother. Thank you for being on the call. We really, really appreciate you, Dr. Nick.
Absolutely.
Getting a lot of love in the chat. That was a great analogy. I want to use that analogy moving forward. So thanks, Dr. Nick. Appreciate you very much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Let me just also give a shout out to everybody on the call that's a medical professional. We have so many medical professionals on the call: doctors, nurses, dietitians, diabetes educators, nutritionists, health coaches, chiropractors, so many. In fact, if you're in the medical community, we have so many people that are supportive of this. Put medical in the chat if you work in the medical community, so we can all give you a little salute. We're so, so grateful for you guys, and this is just awesome. Great stuff from Nick. That was tip number 3. We've got one more tip to go, and then we'll kind of round out the call. And we've got another story that I want to bring on, and then I want to give you a lot of proof that this protocol is just the best thing ever. So tip number 3 was more muscle equals more insulin sensitivity. Tip number 4, this one, guys, I hope you don't underestimate, because it is so powerful. As you're on this protocol, I would encourage you to track, measure, and report your progress. Okay. Just yesterday, I was interacting with Dr. Nick, and he sent me a screenshot. This is Dr. Nick here. Okay. A screenshot of him tracking exactly what he is doing on a daily basis. Here you can see he's taken 4 Unimate, right, that he's marked. He's actually on a 26-hour fast. I mean, that's a lot easier to do a 26-hour fast when you do 4 Unimate during the day, right? You can see his steps. This is such a great example of why the people that are really, really healthy and really get ahead of their health do so. It's because they track, they measure, and they report. What are your goals? Do you know? Do you know what target you're trying to hit? Or is it pin the tail on the donkey blindfolded, right? And we have an incredible tool that's free that all of you can use on the protocol that will help you track, measure, and report it, okay? Now, what do I mean by report? What I mean by report, it's not like you have to report it to me. You could report it to yourself as you track in the app. Or the best thing is to actually get on the protocol with somebody that you know. There's nothing like the buddy system. The 2 people that can, or more, it could be 3 people, 5 people, a group of you, 10 of you, 12 of you, old high school buddies, girlfriends, whatever it is, right? Get a group together and hold each other accountable. This community is so powerful. I have found that positive peer pressure really helps me with my results. Now, you're also all invited to join our private Facebook group. This is the Feel Great family. This is a support group of more than 10,000 of us that are on this protocol, life being changed by the protocol. You can join as you start the protocol. You could even join before you start the protocol and just see how wonderful it is, okay? So these are tools and resources for you to actually accelerate your progress and your goals. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about what the products do, and what we're going to do is a kind of a special offer for anybody that's new here for the first time. You're never, ever going to pay the price that people pay through the website with the manufacturer. You're never, ever going to pay the price that people pay on Amazon. We've got a really special deal for you that I want to tell you about in just a moment. Before I do that, we've got one other guest that I'm so excited about. She has had an incredible transformation. In fact, she just showed me her year mark update, and I'll show it here on the call as we talk. But this is Leanne. And Leanne and I also this is not an old friend of mine or somebody that I've hired to be an actor. This is a real person who was, like many of you, not long ago, sitting on the fence, wondering if she should give this protocol a try. And so, Leanne, if you wouldn't mind, tell us, who is Leanne and where were you at with your health prior to getting started?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, awesome. I'm Leanne and I am from Leesburg, Georgia. I work for an orthodontic group. Um, I can I work any position in that office. That's what I do. Before this protocol, actually the last few years, I've had this weight gain out of nowhere. And I've tried many different all natural protocols to help me with that weight gain and other things. I follow a vet, and since once every year since 2022, I've actually used the Feel Great system because of a vet. But I haven't stayed on it because I felt like it was expensive. But this time last year, I was at my biggest weight that I've been since my third trimester and all of my pregnancies. My body ached. I was not sleeping. My brain fog was very scary. I have Alzheimer's in my family, so that it was very scary. My cholesterol levels kept climbing every year, and I refused to take medicines for that. I've been on omeprazole for years, which none of my doctors have even thought, let's take you off. And as I do research on that, the long-term side effects of that is not good. So I wanted to come off of that. But each time since 2022, when I used the Feel Great system, it worked. I just didn't continue it until this time last year when my brain fog was really bad. And then I saw a vet again on social media, and I reached back out to her, and I thought to myself, I'm going to give this more than a 1 month try. I'm going to use it for at least 3 months. And I did. And about week 5, I'm sleeping through the night. I ran up the stairs at work, and in the past, I would walk up them slowly and hold on to the handrail. I was able to squat down and stand up without any pain. My brain fog is gone. Now I can be a little ditzy, I guess, but for that most part, that brain fog is gone. I've lost weight, so that's exciting. I just feel like a younger person. I mean, this has just been the best thing. And my family is on it. My husband is on it. 2 years ago, he was borderline everything on his blood work. And this year, his doctor called him and said, I don't know what you're doing, but continue doing it because your blood work is perfect. My daughter has headaches every day, and I put her on the protocol in January. She only uses the Balance. The other day she had a headache, and she said, I haven't had a headache in months. And so she gave credit to the Balance for getting rid of her headaches. It's just been the best thing. We travel, and so it's great for travel. It saves us money. It's just been the best thing for us. I wouldn't know what I would do without the Feel Great system. I recommend it to everybody.
Well, hey, I'm so proud of you, Leanne. I'm going to show this picture that you sent me, but I love what you shared. I mean, I hope everybody caught that she had tried it for 1 month a couple of times. And because she didn't have, a revelation in 1 month of use, it was like, and she kind of dropped it. But when she committed and stuck with it, it was the 5th week that everything started to click. And we often hear about fast success stories that happen really fast. Guess what? For me, it was also the 5th week. It was week 5 exactly when it started to click for me. So let me share this. Everybody's got to see this. This is so awesome. You could convince me, Leanne, that you're actually you in one picture and it's your younger sister in another here, because you look so much younger, right? So much
Right.
younger, and your skin looks great, and it's just awesome. So really, really want to say thank you for coming on the call. Congratulations. We're so happy for you. Thanks so much, Leanne. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you. Okay. So we're going to kind of wrap up the call, and I want to give you a bunch of proof like I said I would, but I also want to show you, for all of you that are new, what being on this call is going to do for you. You've just earned yourself a nice reward, and it is a reward that is good for you and for others. You can pay this reward forward. Okay. So there have been some questions in the chat about what do these products do, or what is in them. Okay. So the Unimate is a concentrated extract of the yerba mate plant. This is not yerba mate in the sense that you may be familiar with it. Okay. This is like, in some cases, 300 times as potent. It is handpicked, it is purified through a patented process. There's nothing else like it on the planet. It's in the physician's desk reference. If you're a medical professional, you can look up what it does. One of the best things about it is it increases GLP-1 by 60% naturally. That means food noise starts to disappear. Okay. It also gives you a smooth, not jittery or jumpy, but a smooth, lasting energy. It is incredible for mood, mental focus, and physical performance. In fact, the mood studies on this are some of my favorite studies, because most people struggle with willpower. When they're tired, when they're when they're stressed, they turn to food because they lack the willpower, right, to resist. And this product is like willpower in a packet. If you struggle with willpower, this is willpower in a packet for me. All right. It helps control the food. It helps control the insulin, right? Which are the two big problems for people: too much food, too much insulin. So the balance is a blend of several different fibers. Okay. Fibers, I'm not just talking about fibers like psyllium husk or benefiber. I'm talking about guar gum, locust bean gum, acacia, beta-glucan, okay? A bunch of different fibers, 7 different types of fiber that are in this product. And there's 4 different patents on this blend of fiber. There's nothing like it on planet Earth. It's in the physician's desk reference. There are more than 20 plus clinical studies on this. What does this blend of fibers do? Why is it important? Why don't I just go eat a salad instead? There are 6 things that these fibers do. Number 1, they control blood sugar. Number 2, they control insulin. Number 3, they control cholesterol. Number 4, they control triglycerides. Number 5, they are an incredible superfood blend for the microbiome. They improve gut health and digestion. People with acid reflux love this. People with IBS love this. People with constipation love this. You name it. It helps with that, right? The right types of fiber can fix a damaged gut. And number 6, it is incredibly satiating. It helps me, who has struggled with overeating my whole life, it helps me eat less, okay? This product could change healthcare. It often works as well as a statin for cholesterol, but there are no drugs in it. It often works as well as metformin for blood sugar control, but there are no drugs in it. How wonderful. This is a game changer, right? Now, this protocol, typically when you go on Amazon, or if you go try to buy it through the manufacturer's website, costs $235 plus tax plus shipping every month. Okay. And let me be honest, it is worth every penny. But you will never, ever, ever pay that price because you're here on this call. And whoever invited you to this call has a special discount link. Okay. And this discount link will give you lifetime member pricing that is $159 a month, and actually free shipping. $159 and free shipping when you order through that link, okay, with a monthly order. So that $159, you can cancel it anytime, you can pause anytime. You have a 90-day guarantee. In 90 days, we're going to give you a better life, or we'll give you your money back. If you use it properly and are consistent, it won't let you down. And you're going to be paying less than all the other people that are buying it on Amazon or through the website. You'll literally have this discount locked in. Not only that, you'll get your own share link that any friends or family will get the same price that you get, okay? And at $159 a month, that's $5.30 a day. I mean, if we're skipping breakfast, right, we're going to save that. I mean, I can't get a $5 breakfast from McDonald's, right? So between the snacks and skipping a meal, you take the money that you save, and this covers the cost of the protocol, making it cost neutral. Okay. This protocol has changed my life. Now, I know that for many of you, this protocol has changed your life. And as we wrap up the call, I want to do something here at the end, but as we wrap up the call, if this has been helpful to you or a member of your family, if you've noticed a measurable positive improvement, I would love for you to just maybe share a sentence or two in the chat. I want to read some of these as we close the call, because I want people to see what this is capable of doing for their friends, their family, and their loved ones, okay? I'm going to scroll to the bottom here. Holy cow, these are coming in faster than I can keep up. Kimberly Sanders, my grocery bill is beyond cut in half. So saving money. Cassandra, I am off my antidepressants completely. Laurie White, my IBS anxiety depression is gone 65 days in. Kay Raymond, I have never found anything to ease my IBS symptoms. In 3 months, my symptoms are gone. Mary Levine, my hubby at age 74 got off decades of medications for cholesterol, blood pressure, and lost 35 pounds of hard gut visceral fat, all in 3 months. Mila, 7.3 months in, I have melted 55 plus pounds, not a single depressed moment, endless energy, reversed my high blood pressure days in. Keith Newsom, I have reversed my type 2 in 3 months. I've lost 110 pounds. I've dropped 16 inches on my waist. I went from a 50 waist to a 34, no loose skin, went from a 4X shirt to a large. I fixed my blood pressure. I fixed my blood work, my blood pressure. I'm off 108 units of insulin. I'm off all 15 medications. My neuropathy is gone. No Guillain-Barré symptoms, and feel amazing building muscle. Derek Henderson, my wife's chemo-induced neuropathy is gone. She has reversed her Hashimoto's. My dad's A1C is down from a 13.5 to a 6.9. My mom is off all of her blood pressure meds. Cindy Friday, I've lost 35 pounds. My A1C went from a 7 to a 5.6. More energy. I can feel my feet again after 10 plus years of neuropathy. Better sleep. I'm just going to read 3 more because we're running out of time. This is amazing. There's probably 30, 40, 50 more. Kim Jackson, I'm 63 years old. My A1C went from an 8 to a 4.5. I've lost over 100 pounds. I'm off all meds, feeling like living life again. Jacksons are all in. Love it. Jim Grasser, I reversed my type 2 diabetes. So has my mother. So has my mother-in-law. I've also normalized my blood pressure and cholesterol levels and no longer get migraine headaches. My arthritis has not flared up since I started using the products. I feel absolutely amazing. Kimberly Saunders, in less than a month, everything is better. Jared Hoops, all right, one more. Lowered A1C from a 6.0 to a 5.4. Good cholesterol, or high cholesterol and blood pressure are gone. Gout is gone. Heart palpitations gone. There are about 40 other comments which we don't have time to read. I want to ask you something. I mean, what if this protocol could do for you what it's done for all these people in the chat, right? What if it could do for you what it did for Albert, right? The truck driver at the beginning of the call was just such an incredible story. 90 days. It's like a whole new life, right? What if it could be for you what it was for Leanne? Something that helped her feel younger and helped her shake some of the fears she was having of Alzheimer's and helped her sleep better. And I mean, the weight loss is awesome, but all that other stuff is just so important, right? What if you were supposed to be on this call? What if it was kind of a meant to be thing where you were supposed to be here right now and hearing this, right? What if this really could be the thing that finally worked for you, or that made your doctor really happy with the progress you've made? What else would happen in your life if your health was not a factor anymore, not a problem, that is, right? What would it do for your relationships, your love life, your professional life, your confidence? What would it do to your bottom line, your finances, if your health was an asset and not a liability, right? And why not try something that is natural, safe, something that is guaranteed, right? So you have nothing to lose. Why not try something that is working for people and that is addressing some of the real root causes instead of just masking the symptoms, right? If you or somebody that you love is struggling with their health, invite them on one of these calls. Have them come here, learn about this protocol. You could change their life. You may even save. You may save their life. Okay. Now, I want to close this call just here for 30 seconds, talking about something that's really, really important to me. Okay. The reason why this protocol is really, really important to me, truly, is there's a lot of you who have had great experience, and that's definitely part of it. But a real reason is because of this guy right here. This is my dad, and my dad is now dead. And my dad, who died 8 years ago, struggled with all of these problems: high blood sugar, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, weight control problems, psoriasis, fatty liver. He had them all. And he went on every medication under the sun. And at the end of the day, one of the side effects from one of the medications he was on, he got colon cancer, and it killed him. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't think, I wish I could have done more. I wish I could have said more. I wish I could have somehow intervened, right? But I couldn't, or I didn't. And now my dad doesn't know my kids, and my kids don't know their grandpa, right? If there is somebody who you love and care about, maybe a friend, a family member, maybe your dad, or maybe it's you yourself or your mom or whoever, I want to encourage you to invite them to this call next week. That it really, really could help change their life. We'll have a different expert. We'll have different stories. We'll talk about this protocol. And I really appreciate all of you for getting so many people. We had over 500 people just on the live Zoom, and so many more through the restream. So thank you guys. This is awesome. Love having you here. Sorry, we need to wrap up the call, but if you or somebody you love is struggling with their metabolic health, invite them to this call next week. They'll thank you later. Thank you all. Thank you so much, Albert. Incredible job, Albert. Thank you so much, Leanne. Incredible job, Leanne. Thank you so much, Dr. Nick, the Fittest Doc, at the Fittest Doc on Instagram. You can follow Dr. Nick. Appreciate you all. And thanks to all of you in the comments. You guys are superstars. I love you. Thank you guys. Have a great night.